This is an older game with a new expansion, Civilization V Gods and Kings. I'm gonna be biased on this review, folks. I can't help it. It's been one of my favorite games of all time since I first played my first Civ game. Well, let's check in on graphic options. Not a whole lot here, but it's one of them games where even its predecessor still holds up today, as it really don't need to look great. Let's fire this fucker up. Oh, I'd like to mention I'm not going to play this on hard difficulty here. I just want to get a feel for how this expansion updates this gameplay. Seeing as this game is one hell of a complex game with multiple ways in playing, I'm positive this review won't do this game justice. So I'm just going to give you the basics of it. I usually play as Germany, so selecting this country gives me a bonus usually catered to how Germany is perceived. Starting out, you'll establish your first city. Not a whole lot will happen. I usually play with barbarians turned off. They're just random enemies on the map that more or less just annoy you. I also turn off the city-state crap. City-states are there to be, say, a hired gun in battle or war. You can be friendly with them by doing various things they ask, such as attack so-and-so. For me, it's just an annoyance. Off it goes. Now, fuck! So much to say, and I want this video to be short. That ain't gonna happen. Well, you'll need to research just about everything, and this takes a number of turns, which in turn depends on your production level and or city size. Things like temples and happiness also indirectly affect how many turns something will take to research. It's pretty fucking awesome if you ask me, and the system works pretty well. The gist of the game is, well, again, that depends on how you play and your victory conditions. I usually uncheck all victory conditions and play till I feel I've won, or I get wiped out by another nation. I also play aggressively and depend on war to win. The gist of my games are, get a few cities on the go, then build a defense force. Later I go and wipe out the weak while befriending other nations so they don't attack me while I'm at war with the other. Fighting on 2 or even 3 fronts can be catastrophic. You must try to avoid this unless you like a challenge. Things to take note in, and why you need to learn how your nation works is because you can build wonders which could greatly assist you and your war efforts. Take the Great Wall for example. I like to drop everything in developing Great Wonders as fast as I can early in the game because the Great Wall gives you a defense bonus in your own borders, making your enemies slower in movement. If a horseman can move 4 blocks in the right conditions in enemy territory, if you build the Great Wall, his movement will be reduced to 3 blocks. There are a lot of different wonders in this game. Learning different techs also affects when you can build a tank. This is normally later in the game, but you have to meet all the research requirements to build them. Also for tanks, you'll have to have researched oil and actually have an oil field in your borders to produce it to be able to build them to begin with. My grammar is absolutely horrible. There's a lot to this game, I'm telling you. Now, if you build a city inland, you can't build boats. You need to put it near a bay or an ocean to do that. Taking note of the map, you can see trees, rivers, hills, or whatever. Most units lose movement going through trees or forests, so you'll need to plan each of your routes. In turn, placing a unit on a hill can improve line of sight, defense, and range. You need to compute this while at war to help you win. I did a Let's Play on King difficulty a few months back. It really shows how you must plan your moves, and if you're interested in viewing that for more detail, click this annotation. It's long, however. I've only just grazed the surface thus far. You can also level up your units. You usually get a level via combat, but building barracks in a city and creating a unit from that city will launch the newly created unit at a level higher. This in turn lets you pick out whatever you want to level. It could be things like heal every turn to having a defense bonus if another unit is placed on an adjacent tile. That's the bare basics of fighting. Let's move on to economy. Money. Everything is about money. You need it. You need a lot of it. Fuck, I know happiness is up there next to it, but if your citizens become unhappy and you have lots of money, just buy a coliseum for each city. That solves that right there. That being said, if your citizens become too unhappy, they may revolt and become a city-state or swing to the opposing nation. You'll get money in all kinds of ways. Fishing, plantations, and trade. When I play, while working for Wonders, I try to build a stable economy. What's a large army if you can't support it? Each unit you have digs into your wallet via maintenance costs each turn. You need money, so learn how to get it with your nation. It's important. Remember guys, I play this game as a war game. You could play it in other ways, such as peacefully, which is boring, or even religiously now. There's another option called culture, and it too is important. Don't neglect anything in this game too much. Culture opens up policies, which in turn helps your nation a lot, like Wonders can. You'll build temples and whatnot in your cities to increase the amount of culture you get per turn. It's simple math really, just don't neglect it too much. And now, what changes with religion and spies added to the mix? Combat has been overhauled, with damage doing double digits now. I think they did that so it could be a little more precise. If you've put a shitload of hours into this game before the patch, or DLC Gods and Kings, and you see figures like 20 damage appearing on screen, you'll get a bit worried at first, then confused. After a bit, you'll get used to it. With religion now, I don't really see a huge gain by using it. In fact, I really don't see a real bonus with it except using it as a second currency. It can be a bit of fun just trying to spread it around.
You will follow the god of Dishwasher Bull.
You can buy buildings with it and units, but it's getting harder now to focus on the game. It's mainly because the game was already complicated. I think adapting to all this new stuff will just take a little time. As that time goes on, you unlock spies, which are useful. They level up the more you use them. Placing them on an enemy city will review what units are present, and you can even steal text, but beware. If your enemy has its own spy in the same city, you'll risk getting caught and most likely executed. Then the enemy or friend you place the spy on will get a bit rowdy with you. My general feeling over the expansion is great. Converting cities to your own religion can be fun, but at the same time tedious. I kinda like spies better, but it's push for pull, as in, you'll need to use them because the others are going to be using them. A few other things I noticed that are patched up is archers. They will now turn into Gatling guns and machine gunners as time passes. There was this void left in the original game with them. They also retained their shooting a couple of tiles over, which is great. Icons have also been given an overhaul and some unit names. It will take a bit of getting used to, but if you played a lot of the original game like myself, you'll get into it. As time goes on, you'll get the nukes. That's when your game will almost be over. Either you'll dominate or you won't. I've only just grazed the surface of this game. I really mean that. There's just so fucking much to it, it's retarded. There are a few annoyances I'd like to point out. If you're playing on a huge map with a shitload of enemies, time in between turns can get long. You'll need a good PC to play something like this. Or you'll have a shitload of a wait time in between turns. Sometimes you'll be clicking the end turn button a few times before it actually ends turn, and the interface will also get a bit sluggish after around 300 or 400 turns. The auto cycle unit is left on by default, which can also annoy you a bit. What it does is take you to the nearest unit with an action to be made. If your computer is shit, for a lack of better words, you'll get pop-in textures as the camera moves to that unit. The game is great. It's like playing a mega game of chess except cooler. It's a must-own for all RTS fans, and it's my personal favorite next to Sins of a Solar Empire. The expansion isn't worth $25+ at the time of posting this review. Wait up till it drops $10. I'm sorry, Fraxis. It just ain't worth it. Well, I guess that's all I have to say. There's no way in making this review short. I wanted to at least brush the surface of what I could. If you don't have this game, buy it. This is DTR Fucknobs, and it's nice to be working on reviews again. Communicate later, chumps. Arrgh.